Today, we are going to talk about subject complements. Those are used with linking verbs and they help complete the subject. This is different from what we're used to with action verbs. So, the first thing we need to be aware of is that all sentences are binary. Binary means that they're composed of two parts. So, every sentence is going to have two parts. Those parts are the subject, and that is what the sentence is about, or the topic. And the other part is the predicate, and that is what is said about the subject, or in other words, the comment. Let's take, for instance, this sample sentence. The zookeeper fed the baby gorilla. The subject of the sentence, the sentence is about the zookeeper, no matter how cute we think the baby gorilla is. The zookeeper is the subject of this sentence. It's what the sentence is about, it's the topic. And so the zookeeper is that subject. The comment about that subject, or what is being said about that zookeeper, is that the zookeeper fed the baby gorilla. So everything from that point forward, everything from the verb and beyond it, is what we call our predicate, our complete predicate. Now, we have practiced in the past with direct objects and indirect objects. All of those are part of that complete predicate. But our division in our binary sentence is between the subject and the predicate. So let's take a look at some of these sentences. I think that one of them may be blocked, but we have a variety of different types of sentences. We'll quickly read through these. The students are upstairs. The students are diligent. The students are scholars. The students seem diligent. The students became scholars. The students rested. The students studied their assignment. The students gave the teacher an apple. The students consider the teacher intelligent, and the students consider the course a challenge. Those are basically the 10 different ways that we can create predicates. We call them the 10 different sentence patterns. You don't need to know any of that, but I want you to be aware of this. So, in every one of those sentences, we can separate those into the two parts, the subject part and the predicate part. So, in every case, we have a subject that is the students, and then what we have in the predicate half of the sentence, there are 10 different ways of doing that. Now, we're not going to get into all the details of that right now, but it's really important to understand that even though all the way through school you have been learning that the verb is the action in the sentence, that really only covers half of the sentence patterns. It does cover about 85% of the sentences in English with action verbs, but it does not, it's only 50% of the sentence patterns. So let's draw a line between number 5 and number 6 right there. And what you see at the bottom, numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, rested, studied, gave, consider, those are action verbs. They tell us what the subject does. And so, as I said, those are action verbs. But the ones up above, the students aren't doing anything. It is not telling us what the subject does, it's telling us what the subject is or what the subject is like. And so we call these verbs linking verbs. And this is going to be the subject of what we are studying today. What we're going to learn about, like I mentioned at the beginning, is subject complements. Okay, so as we mentioned, there are two types of verbs. The one type of verb that you already know about is the action verb, and the action verb tells us what the subject does. So today's focus instead is going to be on linking verbs, and the linking verbs are what the subject is or what the subject is like. There's our focus. So let's take a look at this sentence. The cat is playful. Now, we can break that sentence apart into the subject and the predicate. And we're going to take a focus on this verb is. Is, as we know, is a be verb. It's not acting as a helping verb here. There's no other verb. It is a verb by itself. So, what's happening in this sentence is it's not telling us that the cat did something, it's telling us a characteristic or a quality of the cat. So, is a be verb. That's a linking verb. And playful is actually an adjective that describes the subject of the sentence, cat. So playful as that adjective that describes the subject is what we call a subject complement. That is our convention for the upcoming test. And it is also, it's similar terminology, but not exactly the same as what we're going to do on the IXL assignments that are coming up. So we also call this, and this is what's going to govern the IXL, we're also going to call this a predicate adjective. It is an adjective that occurs in the predicate that modifies the subject. So it is a subject complement, but there are several types of subject complements. You can have an adjective, you can have a noun, you can have a pronoun that all tell us more information about that subject. So subject complement is like the umbrella term, it's the big category. And then within that category, there are predicate adjectives, predicate nouns, predicate pronouns. So let's try another one. Your teacher seems kind. We're going to break it up again into our subject and our predicate. And we're only going to focus on the predicate. We've got seems kind. And now our verb is seems. Seems is another type of linking verb. Again, the teacher is not doing anything in this sentence. This word kind over here is describing the teacher. So we do not have action, we have a linking verb here. Seems, as I mentioned, is a linking verb. Kind is telling us more information about teacher. So, since kind is an adjective, it is called a subject complement because it's telling us about the teacher, but it is also a predicate adjective, just like the last one. Even though it's not a be verb, it's a regular linking verb, it is still a predicate adjective. So now we have one that instead of an adjective is going to have a noun. Her dad was an engineer. So we'll split that apart. We have the subject on one side, we have the predicate over here, and now our verb is was. So since was is a be verb, it's acting by itself. And engineer, the dad isn't doing anything. The engineer is renaming this subject over here. It's dad. So was is a be verb, which is a linking verb. Engineer is the dad. So since it's a noun that renames the subject, it is called a subject complement also. Remember, they're all called subject complements if they're doing this, whether they're adjectives or nouns. And in this case now, instead of calling it a predicate adjective, because engineer is a noun, we're going to call that a predicate noun. So the IXL is going to use the terminology predicate adjective, predicate noun, but the IXL, we're going to call them all subject complements. All right, let's try another one. My neighbor became mayor. Split it apart. Subject and predicate. Our verb is now became. Mayor is the same as neighbor. It's like an equal sign. That's what linking verbs do. They're functioning kind of like the equal sign in math class. So became is a linking verb. Mayor is the same as neighbor. So it is a subject complement, and it is also a predicate noun. I hope that makes sense. These can get tricky because sometimes we have verbs that can be either an action verb or a linking verb, and it's the way we use them that tells us the difference. So in this case, we have a sentence that says, the boy tasted the pizza. I want you to figure out if the boy is doing an action or if the verb tasted is functioning as a linking verb. We'll split it apart into the subject and the predicate. Tasted, like I mentioned, is our verb. So tasted, we know, could be either a linking verb or an action verb. So we're going to ask the question, is the pizza the boy? I hope not. Does the pizza describe the boy? Nope. Is the boy doing tasting? Is that a thing that he's doing? And in this sentence, that is yes. So no, tasted is not a linking verb. Tasted is an action. What happens about this one? The milk tasted sour. So we've got our subject and our predicate. Is the milk doing the tasting? No. Sour is a description of milk. So if we take a look at this, we see the tasted, even though same verb, could be either a linking verb or an action verb, the way it's being used in this sentence. Well, I have a mistake there, but is the milk sour? I'm sorry, is the sour, no, I don't have a mistake. Is the sour the same thing as the milk? And that is no. Does the sour describe the milk? And that is yes. So that it describes this. That is a subject complement. And in that case, then tasted is a linking verb. That also makes it a predicate adjective. It's the adjective and the predicate. All right. So now it's your turn. Grab a sheet of paper, pause the video, and attempt to figure these sentences out. Tell me if they are linking verbs. Tell me if it's a subject complement. Tell me whether it's a predicate adjective or a predicate noun. Sentence number one: the tall boy in the red hat is her cousin. Number two: the NBA finals should be exciting. Number three: this chicken smells funny. Number four: the rabbit smelled the carrot. Good luck with those, and good luck as we move forward with your IXL.